covering bruised feelings. When I see her shrinking to keep the peace, when I see. When I see love used as a weapon, when I see fear disguised as loyalty, when I see control mistaken for care, when I see her doubting her own path, when I see silence winning over truth, I will stand. And that to me is one of these, like, where APC is so privileged to be able to share this with her, and that she was able to share it with us, and the relationships that we build with these kids allow them to feel safe and allow them to grow. So I will let them share.
I'm going to be reading a poem named I Am. I am a young woman who hurts. I wonder when things will stop hurting. I see good relationships around me and I want one too. I am a young woman who hurts. I pretend it doesn't hurt anymore. I feel trapped in my thoughts. I worry that things won't get better. I cry when no one is near to help. I am a young woman who hurts. I understand it takes time to heal. I say, when will I ever be happy again? I dream that things will magically go away. I try to forget the past. I hope someone helps me. I am a young woman who hurts.
My poem is called Hold On. Hold on to time even if you lose track of everything else. Hold on to yourself even if you have to find who that is. Hold on to love even if you eventually have to let go. Hold on to the happy even if the sad comes by too. Hold on to life even when you just want to let go.
My poem is called Things I Carry. I carry unfinished sentences, late night thoughts that don't know where to land, songs that feel like home the second they start playing, and laughter that shows up right when I need it. I carry names that still mean something, inside jokes no one else will understand, screenshots of moments I didn't want to forget, and comfort of knowing I'm not alone. I carry fears tucked into my pockets, hope stitched quietly into my sleeves, mistakes that taught me how to be gentler, and dreams I'm finally brave enough to say out loud. I carry growth that doesn't announce itself, strength built slowly, day by day, a future I'm learning to trust, one honest step at a time.
So any questions? So that was just a quick thing that we wanted to share, and I just want to say I'm so proud of them for stepping out of their comfort zone and me bribing them with Starbucks or something to get them here. So yeah, thank you. Any questions?
No, no questions, just a comment. Nicely done. And, just keep the good stuff coming. We enjoy seeing the various presentations of all the students throughout the districts. So thank you for coming tonight to share your poems with us. Thank you.
Ladies, that took guts, and thank you for sharing that with us, and keep sharing. That's what makes the world go round.
Thank you. That was very wonderful. Thank you. And I'd love to get a copy of those poems if you're willing to share. Thank you. That brings us to adjustments to the agenda, of which there are none. We're looking for approval of last meeting's minutes from January 14th, 2026.
So moved.
Moved by Marie.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have nominations, appointments for stipends. Also, Nicolette Bree for a bus aide, Rita Couture, also a bus aide, resignations from Patrick Barnowski for Biddeford High School ESOL EdTech 2, Sharon Lee Brinkman-Young for Biddeford High School ESL teacher to retirement, Michelle Bracken, HR manager, retirement, Sandra Curlew, bus aide, Susan Gibney, business manager, Emma Westcott, IEP coordinator, and transfers for Patty Oliveira, moving to Biddeford Middle School, Emma Westcott as the Biddeford Primary School Early Childhood Special Education Coordinator. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded by Amy. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. That brings us to Superintendent's report.
All right, good evening, everybody. We are working on the budget, and I'm really, really hopeful that next week I'm going to actually have a chance to sit with principals and review the first drafts of that. I'm hoping that we'll have our EPS numbers later this week, and then after we get back from February vacation, we'll kind of be tackling things a little bit more as a board. A lot of times when we have snowstorms like we had this weekend, we forget to thank some people, and first and foremost, the Public Works Department for the city, just the great communication that we have with all the city folks around what's going on. Jeff and his crew staying in contact, and us, being able to understand where people are and what's the safest piece. Bus stops are always such a hard one, and having the ability after you've been plowing all weekend and night to then go out and do that piece. Want to thank them, and then thanking our staff. It's a job when that snow's blowing, when it's every entrance, every walkway, making sure that people can come in, and everybody who helped out with that crew. This was a tough one because your plow and your sander never break down on a sunny day. And so Bill and his crew battled through that. In the school committee new business tonight, you'll see a lease, and excited to be able to get to a point where we have worked with My Place Teen Center and come to a price point where we will be able to move in, hopefully based on budget approval, into the bottom floor. I think we're at a place where we can make that move forward, and that will be before you tonight so that we can make any budget adjustments that we need to. Also, looking forward to having a conversation with Guy Gagnon and Biddeford Housing, thinking about some of the housing projects that they have here and how that we can weave in housing opportunities for our staff. I think that's really kind of a missing piece that we need to have here. Starting salaries where they're at versus housing costs, sometimes they don't balance out, so looking forward to that. And while I am not always caught up on every athletic team, everyone knows I do love basketball and girls basketball here at the high school, and next week it'd be great to see the students and community come out because it's a big game against Chevrolet. Sometimes it's nice to have our girls get ready and have a packed house and for kids to come out, so that'll be a big one.
Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent? Amy.
I just want to take this moment to tell the whole board that I am on the board of the My Place Teen Center and also the Housing Authority. So I've been on all the sides of this transaction about school moving. I was not at the last My Place Teen Center meeting. I have not taken a vote on the lease from the other side to preserve my ability to vote tonight in the event that we didn't have a quorum. So you guys can make your decision around how you want me to handle that. But I thought I'd raise it before we get to that so you can think on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amy, my suggestion is that with Tim here and with four people, because actually we've been in some of those meetings to discuss those last
Indeed.
year.
Yes.
It would make sense for you to abstain on those.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions for the superintendent? Seeing none, that brings us to student representative reports, starting with Cordelia.
So since we last met, the new semester has begun, so students are having their second semester classes and changes to schedule. Then we've also started taking NWBAs. At the high school, the Be the Change Club is doing a challenge week. This weekend, girls ice hockey has its last regular season games before playoffs, and qualifying athletes from track are preparing to go to regionals. And also today, BHS hosted a math meet.
With spring signups right around the corner, I just want to congratulate all that the Biddeford athletics have done. The Biddeford Marching Arts is doing a fundraising tag sale February 7th at Ray's Market and Market Basket, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The primary school is also doing their annual American Heart Association and is taking donations. The BRCOT applications have just opened for signups for next year. Make sure you sign up by March 1st. And the World Language Department is taking a trip to France. Sign up by the 30th for $200 off. There's only a few more spots left if you're interested. They'd be going April of next year.
Thank you, Marcus and Cordelia. Any questions for our student representatives? Seeing none, that'll bring us to committee reports, beginning with Advisory Committee on Policy.
Nothing new to report, but there is a meeting coming up on February 11th.
Any other committee reports?
Negotiations, we had the first meeting canceled because of snow. I believe we have 2 scheduled for February. So we'll be looking to be working with the Ed Tech group on finalizing their contract.
Thank you. That takes us to old business, of which there is none. So on to new business. This is business manager appointment for Colin Zapisek.
So looking for a motion tonight. We were able to find a very qualified candidate for our business manager position, one with municipal experience and understanding fund accounting, which is very helpful for us. So Colin will be moving here from New York into the area. He's going to be here on Friday to meet and greet with us, and he's looking to start on February 9th.
Looking for a motion?
Make a motion to accept the candidate for the business manager appointment.
Motion from Marie.
Second.
Second from Amy. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Takes us to item B, the Alternative Pathways Center lease from My Place Teen Center.
So for a couple of years, we've been working on the possibility of moving out of our current space for APC, which is right next door to My Place Teen Center. Because when the teen center was renovated and brought back, there was always kind of the thought and goal that we would be able to occupy the basement area. I don't want to say basement because I know it was a big part of the church back in the day. That has really been brought to a great standard. Last year, as we were negotiating kind of the possibility of moving there, some changes in ownership kind of abruptly or quickly happened, which kind of caught everybody a little bit off guard of what we were planning and what we weren't. So the pause button was hit, and we've been able to come back to a point where I think that this is a budget number that works for us. And then we can explore some additional funding opportunities together, because I know that there's some long-term maintenance pieces and heat and electricity, and some of that stuff is just going to have to be worked on over time, so that everybody becomes a winner. But this is good for our program, great space, probably allows for, we've had a lot of interest from other districts because of the quality of that, and you've had 2 or 3 students come in now, and that will substantially help with the lease factor as we were able to expand a little bit. So we're pretty excited about this one.
Thank you. Questions for Jeremy? Michelle?
No question, but I was really pleased to see this because I know we talked about
Grown-up
this
perks,
a year
zero
ago.
grown-up stress.
We talked about this a year ago on the board, and so I'm really excited to see this happen. I know that they're desperately in need not only of more space, but also of updated space. So really happy to see this. Thank you for working on this.
Just the other thing too, Michelle, is that I know it's minor, but it will allow Guy to eventually put 3 more apartments back into service, and 3 is 3, you know? So that will be helpful.
Thank you. Amy?
I can't turn the lawyer off. This is a really nice lease. Who wrote this lease?
Well, it was a combination of a lease that came to me from Donna. Had a lot of red lines. They got this little magic thing called
complicated document. If people haven't read every word of it, I recommend that you do. The thing that I want to point out here is the lease term staying consistent for a very long time and an option to renew. So, great negotiating.
Well, part of that is how it was written, but Donna and I have an agreement to come back after a year to talk about that on the side. So I will rehash that piece, because we came to the amount, not understand, like, we have no idea what heat is gonna look like.
Nobody
And so
does.
we have for lack of a better, a collegial agreement to come back and to say, hey, we're gonna revisit next spring after we see what this really looks like. I think that's how we should operate as partners.
Okay, great.
Michelle?
So thank you, Amy, because that did bring up a question I forgot I had. The memo says 1 year, July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, but
Yep.
then the lease itself is for 10 years. So that's because you
That-
plan to look at it,
Yeah,
revisit the
we were
terms.
using a state form that had all these crazy red lines that Donna couldn't make go away, and we were trying to get this to the agenda. We would probably I would hope that we would sign at least a 5-year lease, because again, you're looking at an educational situation, and we don't want to be operating year to year. But we also don't know what we don't know. And I don't think it's fair to that organization to think about what our costs would be and then be like, okay, no, power, electricity, and heat does look a whole lot different. And that was kind of part of the, I don't want to say handshake agreement, but the understanding that we have is that I understand she has unknowns and she understands that I have unknowns, and sometimes things just have to be figured out. And you need some data to figure that out. And, this winter's been colder than last winter, so I suspect that she's running a little bit different than what it could be. So I don't know how much summer program we'll do there. I mean, it's going to be climate controlled, and so we may want to do more, we may want to do less. We still have other partners who may come to the table with us in some of that space, and be open to those conversations.
Great.
I just want to say, as a resident who grew up in that parish, I am just so happy to see the use that the facilities of St. Andre's have, been for the city, and to continue on for the city in the various aspects that the center provides. And now adding this educational piece to a very important program that we all have. So I'm just a very proud old St. Andre's girl, and kudos for what the city's done, and kudos for the education department adding a nice piece there. So I think it's a win-win.
I ate a lot of donuts down there after Mass. I don't know if
Yeah.
you did too.
A lot of John Paquette's bread.
I'd love to suggest that if this goes through, that's come summertime, we have a tour for the group, so we can get an idea of the space. Is there a question from you, Tim?
Yeah.
Nope, okay.
No, I'm fine, Liam, thank you.
All right, I think we'll be entertaining a motion to give approval of the lease.
Make a motion to approve the lease for the APC.
Motion from
Lease.
Marie,
Second?
second from Emily. Any discussion? All those in favor? All in favor. Tim also in favor. Amy is abstaining. Thank you. That takes us to item C, another building update on Biddeford Primary School.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a memo of where we are on Biddeford Primary School, with exterior siding, the brick going up, starting to look pretty nice, and starting to look, like a school on the inside. Cabinetry has started to arrive, and they were installing that last week. A lot of the ceiling pieces have been done. The first, the pre-painting has been done in a lot of the rooms. They'll start fairly soon on, finished flooring. but it's really starting to take shape. And once we get a little bit of the snow out of the way, if people want to go over and walk through, please reach out to us and we can go over there. My preference would probably be after February vacation, just because they are planning on nobody being around for a week, and they really, plan to hit certain when there's no activity. But we're thinking April-ish it should be done, and then thinking about like the final landscaping pieces in May, June area, and be all ready for the start of the school year.
Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent? All right, moving on to the next item, which is the New England Association of Schools and Colleges update.
Good evening. My name is Martha Murray. I'm the principal of Biddeford High School, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes updating you all on a really exciting process that we're going through here at Biddeford High School. Every 10 years, a school has an option of becoming accredited by NEASC, and we were accredited 8 years ago now, so we decided to embark on this journey once again. The process has changed quite a bit since it was previously, and so people have this notion that had been involved in the past of, oh my gosh, we have to do NEASC, and previously it was hours and hours and days and binders and all of the things. So the process has really changed and been fine-tuned, and one of the most important pieces of that is that we're no longer doing NEASC. We're doing Biddeford High School, and we invite an accrediting board to come in. We spend 2 years doing a self-evaluation, and then we ask them to give some feedback. They're coming in March of this year to do that collaborative conference, and then they highlight some areas for us. We suggest priority areas of growth, and then they come back and say, yes, we agree, or no, how about this? And we then have a year and a half to do that before the accreditation. So we started this process about a year ago. We identified a steering committee with 8 members, including myself. There are 5 principles that you really have to evaluate yourselves on, and that's everything from the physical plant to student support, curriculum, parent and student engagement, support of the board and leadership. So we've been through that process. You develop a vision of a graduate, or a vision of a learner, as we've called it. And our staff, I can't tell you how proud I am of our staff with everything else that they've had on their plates for the last year plus. The work that they have done on this is hours and hours. There have been no complaints. People who typically sit in a room and don't say a word have been really engaged, outspoken. We've written our 35-page self-reflection report, which the steering committee has gone through. We are actually meeting tomorrow to fine-tune our 2 to 3 priority areas, which we will then present. So the process here, and you'll see linked in your package, what is the collaborative conference? That's when they come in. Like I said, we're gathering the information. Really, they come in to support our goal development. They let us do the work for our building. They know that we need certain things, and we know that better than anyone. So if you look at the timeline here, we started last spring, but really in October we started doing the hard work within our teams and the professional development there. Like I said, January 2026, tomorrow actually feedback on part 2, and then we determine our 2 to 3 priority areas. We do any final revisions. Marie, if you're at our Partners in Education meeting on Monday night, this is an agenda item, so we'll talk a little bit about that with the parents as well. And then we send it out to staff vote to make sure that they're on board, that the staff agrees with the 2 to 3 priority areas that we've identified. And then the collaborative conference visit is it's a chair and 6 other people that come in, and we host them here for 2 days. So there may be an opportunity for some of you to meet with them. They meet with students and faculty and really talk about what we think we need. So I jumped ahead. Again, they'll tour the school building. There's a very specific timeline that we follow with them, an agenda, and it's set that way through all schools. Our whole steering committee, the 8 of us, have visited different schools and served on this committee over the last 2 years, because I really wanted them to see what the process was like and what it was like to look at and evaluate a school, so that when it was our turn, we knew what we were presenting. again, as I said, we completed our self-reflection. The standards are there. And really what we've highlighted as kind of our strengths and opportunities, our glows and grows, if you will, our student support systems. We do an awesome job at that. We're really above and beyond on some of that, our advisory program, the multiple pathways that we've developed, and then some innovative positions with our resiliency coordinators and some other things that we've really done differently than other schools have that have really benefited from us. And then some things that we really want to work on are the data-informed decision, growing populations, not only our ML communities, but we're seeing an influx of students from other schools that have a different set of behaviors or backgrounds, and how we're reacting to that and how we're, changing our tune with some of that, really focusing on our student attendance and then our curriculum consistency. So we'll see tomorrow what everyone votes on, what our 2 to 3 priority areas are, but these are kind of some ideas of what we may be working on. And then we'll submit that self-study report and all of the supporting documentation. And we have about 68 linked documents for them to review as of right now, so they'll have their work cut out for them. We'll host the visiting team, and then we'll receive the recommendations from that and have the next year and a half or so to work on that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any
Any
questions
questions?
for Principal Murray? Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
That brings us to the first reading of an overnight field trip to France and Spain.
Motion to accept.
From Marie,
Second.
second from Amy. Any discussion? All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Next item is the first reading of an overnight field trip to hospitality.
Well, I'm going to make a motion, but then I'd like an explanation of what that's going to be about. I'm very intrigued by it. So I make a motion to accept the first reading on the overnight field trip for hospitality, Maine, and ProStar Culinary.
Second.
Motion by Marie, second by Amy, and a question for Superintendent Murray. Paula.
Sounds like fun.
Heard of, and that'll be coming up in March. ProStart is the culinary competition for our culinary students. This will be the first year we enter into it. And it's not only our culinary students, but also our hospitality students. And so the hospitality, travel, and tourism students they will prepare menu and do a competition in terms of managing a restaurant, whereas the culinary students have to eating a food item, college students. So it's not just high school students. It takes place at the Holiday Inn in Portland. And it's an overnight, so they go up on Monday and they compete on Tuesday.
Now, is that competition open to the public to watch? Do you know?
I believe it is. I believe we can't, I plan to go. We can't interact with the students. They don't receive
Right.
any coaching during it, anything like that, but I believe we can observe.
Okay. Sounds awesome.
Same with Skills USA. Anyone can go up. That's in Bangor. Can go and observe and visit and see the competitions.
Thank you, Paula.
Sure. Any other questions? Discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. That takes us to the public participation portion of the meeting. 3-minute limit for seeing none. Is everyone online? On to communications. Any communications or updates from committee members? I'll just share a few. Winterfest is coming up on next Saturday. It'll be on Adams Street. A lot of activities for young families to participate in Biddeford. And then on Sunday, there will be an event and open skating at Westbrook Skating Rink if the weather cooperates. Additionally, York County Community Action, which heads up our Head Start and Early Head Start in the area, is celebrating their 60th anniversary this year. So I wanted to congratulate them on that and the strong partnership they have with Biddeford Schools. And then additionally, for the high school principal here, we have a vacancy on the Public Art Commission, and we're looking for a student representative. So if you or any individuals in the administration know of any students who would be interested in that, in particular, we're looking for a sophomore or a junior who could stay around for 2 years. With that, we have a opportunity to go into executive session.
So I'd like to make a motion to, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to, for the annual review of the comprehensive emergency plan as required under our MRSA 20-A, section 1001, pursuant to 1 MRSA, section 405-6F.
Second?
Motion by Michelle, second by Marie. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, so we will head into this executive session, and then after that, we will be adjourned. No votes. Thank you.